The Rebels' effort against the Empire is probably a topic I want to talk about for probably the last day, not really that long at all. It's a very interesting topic because it's kind of just the original trilogy era, and I like to talk about the Old Republic, the prequel trilogy, and the time period between the originals and the prequels. Really talk about the original trilogy. Kind of think, well, there's not really to talk about. You got 3 films, but you got Rebels and all that as well. But the 3 films, there's actually a lot to it, and then of course, there's some outside pre-existing content. But if you do enjoy the video, subscribe and like, because that'd be amazing. Thank you also for the support on the last video, and yeah, thank you. But enjoy the video. Now, to start this off, I actually want to talk about why the Rebels don't actually like the Empire, because if you're looking at it through the films, it's very obvious why people would be really against the Empire. But if you're looking at it through the lens of a normal civilian, you'll be like, what really is the problem here? They won the war against the droids and whatever, so they're the saviors, right? That's kind of like the, I don't know, maybe a lot of them are really dumb, which does make kind of sense at the same time. First thing, right, is because the Empire limiting their freedom, and there's a lot of control over the society. Like if you've seen Tatooine in A New Hope, right, it's just one example. There are many, but this was the first one that came to the top of my head, so okay, yeah, just listen. Right, you have Obi-Wan and Luke, and they're being checked before they've even gotten to see Han. This is also very similar to the chain codes, which you can see in the Bad Batch, where for people to get out they need chain codes, and the Empire tracking everything. So I think that's one thing that actually kind of annoys the public, and it's probably one of the most obvious things to the public that look at the Empire in a bad way, I guess. But the Empire actually have a lot of corruption as well. This fairly obvious, right? The Empire, of course, going to have corruption because they got Palpatine as the leader, right? And then Darth Vader as the guy who's the apprentice to him, right? So it just makes sense. If we actually could look into this a bit further, right, they let the Hutts kind of do what they want to some degree to kind of keep them as not friends really to the Empire, but just they know their place. If the Empire take out the Hutts, then the Pikes are going to come for them or something, and there's going to be some sort of underworld, I guess, eruption, right? Also, there's slavery on most of the planets, including the Imperial occupied planets. So that's probably quite a big thing for people to not like, I'm guessing. But yeah, so there's that as well. And also, the members of the Empire sell out all the time, right, to get more credits and higher ranking positions by just doing corrupt things, with deception as well. That's kind of a part of it as well, Imperial agents and officers, which is a part of the system in general. You've got the stormtroopers, which are literally just normal civilians, so it's they're building the system off just random people as well. There's kind of a bit of a dark side to the whole system there, but I think the worst thing out of all this that the Empire are doing is they're creating psychopaths like Cyril, and that guy eats cereal the weirdest way. What on earth is he doing? Right, so I'm going to get into the interesting part now of the video, which is the effort for the Rebels against the Empire. And the Empire themselves, there's this kind of theme that is running through a lot of the shows, especially something like Andor, where it's the Empire don't really look at the Rebels as a huge threat because they've got such big ego or something. I don't know where this idea's come from, right? It's probably just Andor. People sugarcoat that whole series just to say, oh, it's the best thing since The Empire Strikes Back, when the writing's all over the place. I may write my review already. I don't want to go too much into that, so you can watch that in the description if I remember to put it there. But if I don't remember to put it there, then yeah, you can just find it if you want to. Anyway, the whole part about the Empire not thinking that they should go after the Rebels, I think is wrong, because they've blown up the first Death Star, which I guess maybe, because Andor set before, they've got an argument there, but it's really not. They would still see some rebel uprising as probably a huge problem, and Palpatine, Andor says that he does see it as a problem, so it kind of disproves that point anyway. Now, what I do think is a valid point for A New Hope is that the Empire genuinely weren't expecting the Rebels to take out Death Star, right? So they knew the Rebels were a threat, of course, right? They're trying to take out Yavin 4. They already took out Alderaan. By the way, that Alderaan scene was pretty cool as well. Probably a big pivotal moment for the Rebels, I'm guessing, if one of their planets just get blown up. And this is a good thing for the Empire to have a lot of deception against the public. A lot of the public don't know Alderaan has already been taken out. I think that's pretty cool as well, to just add on to my point earlier about why the Rebels don't like the Empire and how the public might. One of the mistakes I think with the Rebels is that after A New Hope, they probably should have gone with a lot more of attacking power against the Empire, because it's like they took out the Death Star, the Empire on their back feet, and it's like, oh, now they're chilling on Hoth for some reason. Like, what's the point? Why are they just chilling on Hoth, bro? You just taking out a Death Star, just go full attack on the Empire, and then maybe the Empire will probably lose it, and you could probably win then. But no, they go into The Empire Strikes Back, and that's where it gets even more interesting, because, you know, in The Empire Strikes Back, it really does prove that the Empire wanted to wipe out the rebels and kill their motivation. They're searching Hoth, and they're even following the rebels to Cloud City. They're like hunting them down till the last moment. They're using bounty hunters. They're using all the aces and all the cards they've got right in their hand to just take out all the rebels. And, you know, Luke only just escapes with like Chewie, Lando and Leia. That is probably the best point for the Empire, bro. And also Lando sells out big time, bro. Like, he literally like gets paid by the Empire to catch the rebels for them, you know, give them an advantage of their location. You know, at the end of the day, Lando just wants some money, you know, big sellout. Luckily he did redeem himself in episode 6, but yeah, man, I don't know, he messed up pretty big time. But then again, it makes sense for his character. I'm talking about episode 6 now, Return of the Jedi, one of my favourite Star Wars films, actually, just because I like the setting, I like what goes on, and especially the Ewoks. You know, the Ewoks are brilliant. They're perfect, right? Best creatures in the whole entire universe, other than Jar Jar, of course. So, you know, let's go and talk about the Ewoks first of all, because there's this part of the story which a lot of people, they can kind of see it, you know, it is guerrilla warfare really in itself, right? So the Ewoks aren't necessarily wanting to team up with the rebels. You know, they've got different kind of views. The Ewoks kind of look at the rebels as a bit like scarier, but they soon form a good like friendship, and, you know, the rebels are accepted into the tribe with C-3PO as the god, bro. What on earth is going on there? But yeah, it's pretty cool to see. It's like guerrilla warfare tactics. They're using bow and arrows and sticks against stormtroopers. People say, oh, this makes, you know, Star Wars look silly and the stormtroopers look dumb. But at the end of the day, it is just literally a tactic. You know, stormtroopers don't know where they're getting hit at. They're getting hit by furry teddy bears in the middle of bushes, bro. What can you expect, right? So there's those tactics which the rebels also, you know, help out as well with. Also, like the takeover of different like ships and stuff, and mainly the AT-ST, which you see, sorry, not Wookiee in, Chewie in, right? He's got a name, right? He's in there with the other Ewok, and this is something you see in a lot of other films against like some bigger power. They're always using the other like powers technology, so there's that part of it as well. It's like guerrilla like warfare to some degree, but it's also just them just being a bit more smarter than the Empire and kind of like outwitting them. The guerrilla warfare tactics in episode 6 are actually really good, and something that pretty impressive by the rebels in how they do it, because, you know, they've got to take out the shield generator. So that's probably one of the best things about it. And, you know, you do see guerrilla warfare in the other two films to some degree as well, but it's more prevalent here. This is like the final battle, and it really makes sense why the rebels would be using these tactics in the final battle, because it's their best chance of winning. So then there's the destruction of the Death Star, which in A New Hope it was one single bullet that goes down the hole. Now it's a whole ship, you know, it's crazy, right? But it's still pretty cool. And then the final battle with Luke going against Vader and Palpatine, I think it kind of represents the rebels really in general, with them having a lot of faith in what they're doing. So Luke puts his faith in Darth Vader, of course his father, to eventually save him. And I feel like this is some pretty good story for the fantasy genre, with like religion at the forefront of decisions to some degree as well. So Palpatine thinks Luke will like kill Vader and join him, so he doesn't kill Luke just there and then. And Palpatine risks it all for even more power. So it's like the corruption of the dark side, and, you know, him wanting more power, of course. So that's a very interesting point as well. They're putting all their faith into this, and they may not succeed in destroying the Empire, or they might, but they did in the end. So unlucky, get wrecked, Empire. And that is all for today's video, so I hope you enjoyed, and again, thank you for the support in the last video, and basically the support on the channel in the last couple of weeks. You know, it's been doing well, so thank you very much, and yeah, hope you have an amazing day. See you next time, bye.